Hi everyone, it's Ellen. We're doing day 2 of this big Black Hutch. Last night when I finished up, I did actually another, bunch of touch-ups, a little bit more sanding, and finished up a few things. Today I'm going to do some blending because I want just the very front to have a blended color on the drawers. These drawers are all in different stages that I wanted to show you about blending, so they look terrible. Don't they look terrible? They look absolutely awful. But they won't look like that when we're done. This one is kind of almost done, but I have tidied it up somewhat. What I'm doing in the end, which will be another video, is I'm doing black wax just around the edge of it and just really finishing it off nicely, so it'll be really pretty. I wanted to show you the handles, so I'm putting on the spectacles. These are the handles. They are absolutely gorgeous, but look how awful. Like, they're so, I don't know, old and just tarnished looking. So these will be spray painted gold, and they go like that. Aren't they pretty? I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. I don't think you have a good enough view of everything. Let me just get my angles right here, sorry. Whoop. Okay. So you can see it a little bit better. That's the area we're going to be working on as well. I've decided to leave pretty much the rest of it. I'll do up top here. I'll do a little bit of blending and the bluish green and white color, and then a lot of it will just leave plain black. The sides will be left black. I'm not going to do the sides at all. So it's going to be pretty cool when it's done. Last night I did a first coat of the Fusion Midnight Blue. So I had already done the black, and then I came in here and I did a ring of blue and a ring of that lichen green color, which is the really pretty sage green. There was something wrong with my tester pot of sage green. Either that or I contaminated it somehow with my brush because it just would not stick properly. So I don't know if I got some oil in it at one time or not. But anyway, so I have switched to day 2, a different color called Raw Silk, and it's also a fusion paint. The blue is on there, and you can see that as our base coat on the, I'm just going to loosen this up so I can move it around a little bit for you guys. So this has a base coat of blue on it. These drawers have a base coat of the blue and the lichen. So that's what that is. You can see these are really not finished nicely because I wanted to show you how this goes. So it does take, when you're doing blending, it takes about 3 coats, 3 layers to get it all right. This is actually a second layer, so even it's not exactly right. If you're on watching today too, can you just say hello or tell me where you're from, leave a comment, ask a question. I can probably answer some questions today. Yesterday was kind of mind-boggling, but I think today I'm okay to answer some questions. So I'm putting on my other glove. The tarnish handles will be spray painted. These are the pretty little handles for the doors. So once the doors are on, I don't know why there's 2. Actually, they're for the bottom doors, so they're for down here. Those will be spray painted as well, and it's going to look really pretty. And then where the black is a little bit faded looking right now because I've got blue messed up all over it, that black will be freshened up before we're finished, and then the black wax over top. So I kind of thought that this hutch, I mean, you could use this hutch for it's called a buffet hutch. So generally these things you can take apart like they're 2 pieces, but this one's actually 1 piece, so it has to stay 1 piece. It has plate rails in the back of the shelves for dishes so that you can stand your decorative plates up behind them. So when we're done this one, because I do interior decor too, I don't want to just paint it. I want to show you how you might style it. So we'll do it maybe a few different ways to show you what you could put in it to style your hutch. I know I see a lot of pictures of hutches and they don't look very nice inside because people just throw things in there or they don't know how to place things. And so maybe when we're all done this, we'll do a little bit of a styling session and just show you. So that is the state of it right now, and we're going to work on this front. So you'll see me going back and forth here. If you want to share this with your friends, I would really appreciate it. And leave a comment if you, or a question if you have something that you want to ask me. This is the buffing pad I was telling you about. So this is not even a 220. I don't know. It's probably like a 600. This side's a little bit rougher than this side. So what I do is just to take down any little imperfections in the paint from the first coat where it might have like a dust bobble stuck in it or something. What I've done is gone and just buffed this all out. You don't need to resand it at all. It takes like, to do this whole piece, I could buff sand it in probably less than 3 minutes. So it's pretty fast. Once you do that, just take a cloth again and wipe down your surface, and then you're done. I did end up painting in here. This only has one coat. You can see I have to do more. So I'm going to paint this frame out black, and I still have the door to get started on yet as well. So the very top, let's see, the very top has a little bit of blue in the crown up there too, so I'm going to work on that as well. So that will be the only other piece that has actual, I hope that's low enough. The only other piece that has actual blending paint on it. So blending is a kind of a specific technique. Not a lot of people do it, and not a lot of people, if they do it, it kind of looks messy. Mine's messy enough right now, and I apologize, but that's pretty much how you get started with it. I mean, it does take 2 or 3 layers. So blending, it might look like this, your first or second coat, but your third coat gets smoother and smoother and your colors blend in a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of black. So we're dealing with Fusion Mineral Paint Coal Black. Midnight Blue we have is a little bit of a base under here, and then we have a little bit of lichen, and now we're putting black and raw silk on today. So we're going to take our black and just rub it in. I'll keep going back and forth to my jar because I don't want to load my brush so much that it's just really gobbing it on here. I'm sorry about the traffic noise in the back, but I had to open my garage doors to get better light. And it's a little bit noisy out there today, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to bring it right into here a little bit, which looks really awful. Like that. And then I'm going to take, I hope you can hear me, I'm just going to take a few little dollops of white. And then I'm going to take another brush that I have for blending. I'm going to spritz this with water. The water just keeps the paint really malleable. And I'm going to blend it out. Now blending, if you have it looking streaky, you do not want to leave it looking streaky. You can blend it this way to get the paint to blend in more efficiently, and then we go straight out again, blending, very soft touch to get this layered look in here, and just keep fluffing it out. It's kind of like the softest feather touch really there. So yeah, now that's a lot lighter than that one. So I'm going to add a little bit more because what it did was it drew the black down into it again. So I'm going to take another brush. This is a 2-inch round, I think. It's a really, really soft synthetic. And I'm just going to put a bit of mist on the brush this time. And it's so, 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 so soft. You just want to really smooth that out. And like I said, in the end, we'll be going back with some black wax. The black wax will go all around the edges, and it'll really, really work into this white and blue and gray area we've got going on here. Okay, so I think that's the trouble with doing it on camera is you're not face on, so it's hard to see if you've got it exact, but I'm not going to make it too perfect. Now this one I think has too much. So what I want to do, and when you blend you leave the drawers in because you want them to all match. If I did them separately, I'd never see, in my line of sight anyway, I'd never see if they were actually the same. So I can see that this white is not bad, but it definitely needs more black. So you just keep working at it and working at it and working at it until you get it right. And again, I'm bringing this gray up into the white, to the lichen and the white that I've put on today. Right? A little bit more. It doesn't look like much, I have to say. Okay, so now we will add a little bit of this white again. You can kind of almost gauge where you want it, really. And then I'm going to take this brush and smooth it out. So now see, it's kind of streaking in there. I think my brush is a little bit too wet. That's why I wear an apron, so I can smear it all over my apron. And take a bit more off and rub it on my apron. And over here it's starting to dry out already, so I'll spray my brush. Get my brush a bit wet. Draw some of this black in. There is no real skill to this, it's just you really have to work with paint the way the paint wants to go sometimes. I'm mostly just focusing on this area here. I want it to be mostly in here that I see the white stay. And I'll go back, add a little bit more black. And just keep working it around. That's about all you can do, really. If it's not cooperating fully, which it isn't, that's okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect around the edges, not like painting, because the black wax is really black, and that goes on the very last, and it will go all around in here to clean up the edges and blend into this blue and white a little bit better. Okay, so it's starting to get dicey on me here, so I'll just leave it to dry a little bit. Sometimes it's just really simply that it wants to dry in between. Clean it up a little bit with some black here. And we'll keep going around. Once we get these fronts done, I mean, the rest of it's going to be easy peasy, right? Because there's really not that much to do except paint the rest black and do one more coat of that. and it should look pretty sweet. I was going to leave it all black, but I really wanted to show you guys that even when you're using paint like this, which a lot of the people that use these paints just use, they just do single colors for their pieces, but I love the blended look. I think it's so pretty. It's like instant antique look. So there's a little bit of a smear there, but I can clean that up after with a little bit more blending, tiny little bit more blending. Sometimes my brushes just get paranoid or whatever. They just decide they're out to lunch and they're not going to cooperate with me. But I think I kind of get them too loaded with stuff, so we'll leave that one. I think maybe not. Just takes the tiniest little bit of paint to get it looking really pretty. It doesn't take much. If you put a lot of the white on, you're really going to be in trouble. Yeah, so this spot's given me some resistance because it's kind of, when you mess up the paint as much as I'm doing right now, it kind of gets annoyed. Okay, so we're going to leave that for now. And I'm going to go down to this drawer. I'm going to put a little bit on here. I'm actually going to spray this one. I haven't worked with it yet, so it's really dry. It's very dry. Very, very dry. Not the best painter in the world, but I try. And I always go into the edges, like of the next drawer, which you need to do to keep everything. So I'm going to put a little bit in here, and a little bit along the top in here. This one actually looks pretty good already, doesn't it? Okay, now we need a little bit of white. Pretty easy to do that, hey? Get all the way out. Just blend in the color. Layer after layer, that's what blending paint is all about. It's never just one. I've seen people do it with just, you know, one smear of paint, but it always looks really funny to me. It doesn't look complete somehow. It doesn't look antiquey, it just looks like smeared paint somehow. I don't really like that look. Okay. I insist that this piece blend. Okay. I feel like I've got the magic wand in my hand or something that's supposed to do what it's told, but it isn't. So that's one layer of the white on top. So I will have to do one more layer of all of this later to really get it to blend. When you let it dry, like this now, that is really too light. When you let it dry, and then let the colors just dry into each other, it really looks different. Like looking at it wet is 100% different than dry. That one's doing the same thing, so it just wants to dry and not be bothered with for a little while. So I'm going to move over here. And I guess my camera's in reverse today, that's odd. I'm going to move over here and work on this drawer. We're going to do this similar thing. just want kind of like this middle area mostly to be the bit that gets blended. I have a little surprise I want to do on this piece at the end as well. It's going to be pretty neat. Okay, let's try some white paint. So that's the area that I want to really blend. And just keep working it around. Working. Sometimes it's literally, I call this my soap suds technique. It's just smearing it around like you would be doing soap suds or something. Bringing it in and bringing that grayish black color down a little bit. Keep moving it around. If you guys have any comments or questions, you can let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Remember, this is going to be black waxed afterwards. I kind of like that look right there. It's a little bit grungy antique look, I guess. Kind of a little bit shabby chic, but it's pretty. I think we'll leave that, and then when we black wax it, it'll give it a little bit more of a bit of a sheen there. Okay, now I'm going to put some black on this. Clean it up a little bit. This is going over a first coat, so the paint is very, very dry from yesterday. It's gonna look very pretty though. I love working on things that look very old. I am actually not a real antique person, believe it or not. I've never really liked antiques, but I'm kind of starting to. I think they're pretty neat. Especially painted. I think why I didn't like antiques was because I really didn't like the way, see how that turns blue when you add water, because black paint has a lot of blue pigment in it. But it dries properly, it dries black. No, but with antiques, I used to think they were kind of very ugly, but I think it was just because they were so colorless. Like everything is a honey brown color. I just really don't like the honey brown furniture kind of look that most people have in their homes for antiques. I would love to paint people's antiques. If you have an antique that you don't mind getting painted. Just drawing this up one direction again. Not being overly fussy with it, because again, we're going to black wax this whole entire thing. You don't have to wax fusion paint because it dries with a sheen that's a matte sheen, but it dries with a finish on it that you don't have to put wax on to protect. Like with other paint, you have to put wax on it to protect it. So with this, you don't, which is kind of a nice time saver. I don't remember if I painted this one out. I don't think I did. So this brush I'm using here is a 2-inch flat, which I use quite a bit for these narrow bits. My favorite is a 2-inch oval, but a 2-inch flat is great for some parts. Last night when I was doing all this stuff out here, I literally ended up having 10 paintbrushes I had to wash out. I don't know how I ended up with 10. I think I was just frustrated. I was really tired because I worked also all day, and I was was trying to get a first coat of this stuff on. Why is that not going on there? Get on there. And trying to do this, and I was trying to get the paints right, and ugh, it was just a bit of a nightmare. So I ended up going in and washing 10 brushes. I couldn't believe it. I always wash my brushes every night. I know a lot of people don't, but I do because I just don't like sticky paint on my brushes. I really have never liked that. Any clean blending brush, I think. Uh-oh. There goes my spray bottle. Really broke my spray bottle. Top broke right off. Okay. Alright. So, do this little bottom piece here. So if you're afraid of painting, don't be, because there's so many ways to fix things that don't go right. You know, like, if I didn't like this blue, and I really wanted to just scrap that idea and just go back to plain old black, I would just paint right over this. There'd be nothing stopping me from painting right over everything that I had done. So you don't need to resand it. You don't need to do anything. You just need to paint over top of it, and then you're done. Oftentimes mistakes can be sanded off. Sometimes it's a wet one that works. There's different ways of getting rid of mistakes, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, I think that has got it. Now you might be wondering how on earth. You can probably see some brush marks, but again, it's not like I'm painting a wall. You notice that I'm generally going in one direction, but if I was painting a wall and I was really concerned about brush marks on the wall, that's a different thing altogether. This, because I know I'm going to be using black wax later, the black wax just looks beautiful with random brush marks too, like in here. Generally they're all going the same way though. And then also you don't have to be so fussy, I guess, because if you do use a colored wax after like a brown wax or a black wax, you know that it's going to cover some of the major flaws up. So I have a little bit of blue. Sorry, I have a little bit of blue in here. I don't know if you can see it, but I painted this on last night, and then this is black. There's a bit of blue here. These are black, and then there's a bit of blue up top. But I don't think I'll change too much more there. I'm going to try this side now. Can you see that? Alrighty. Okay. We'll try that side. I can't believe I broke my little. This is really blue, isn't it? It's got a ton of blue on it. So you can tell, sorry about the rattle, you can tell I'm not being overly careful with this to start. I want some of that black up top there, a little bit more. Very wet. Okay. Now, get some white. Sometimes if I have an actual, can you see me? Sometimes if I have an actual line that I want to draw, for a section to outline, I will just do it, just outline it with my brush first. Okay, so I've changed my blending brush because I got my other one, sorry, my other one contaminated with white. Or not white, contaminated with black. There's dust bunnies out here. I'm in the garage, which is my shop, and basically I took it over. My husband said he wanted his garage to park the car in the winter, and I said, the garage? The garage is not yours any longer. The garage is mine. So he hasn't been able to park in here all winter because I took it over. I stole his garage. I don't think he's very happy about that, but I really needed it. Adding a little bit of this gray back in because I think it's, yeah, this side has, the other side has way more gray, so now I'm looking at the other side trying to match it up a little bit better. I think it's about like that. And if not, next time I blend, I will blend it again. Keep blending and blending and blending. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do this, and it takes a lot longer. I would say it takes 5 times longer than just ordinarily painting a piece because it's so much going back and forth. But you get kind of a little bit faster with it and a little bit more efficient. The more you do this with the brush like this, it's like a polish, and it literally will polish this part. It's kind of neat how it works. So you think, oh my goodness, that's going to be awful. But it actually polishes that just to a perfect sheen when you brush up and down and sideways like this. Okay. The more I mess with it, the more I mess it. So I will leave that part for another next coat. And then I'm going to go back over here and paint this up. It's kind of hard to paint bending over. Normally I have a little stool that I'm on the floor with, and I roll around on my little stool on the floor and I'm down low, but I can't do that when I'm on the camera. So I hope you guys are watching this. If you want, share it with your friends. I'll probably be doing at least 1 video a week on painting, maybe sometimes 2. And then the plan is to start a YouTube channel. I watch so many painting videos to see what people are up to out there in the painting world. And some I'm very impressed with, and some I'm really not. But I thought what I don't see a lot of is people who have been taught or understand a little bit more about interior decor as well as painting. I find a lot of people understand painting, but then a lot don't really understand the interior decor part of it, right? So I think that's my little angle. And when I was studying interior decor, one of the things that we really focused on was architectural history and furniture styles, and how architectural history always pretty much dictated furniture style, and how that transformed over the years, And so when you see pieces like this, if you understand the historical significance of a piece like this, it makes sense as to how you're going to decorate it even, or how you might decorate it. Okay, that's kind of done. So if we put, these, let's see which way they go, that way. If we put these on when they're nice and gold and not all tarnished, that's gonna look really pretty, don't you think? I think so. I think that's gonna look awesome. Those handles will be spray painted gold today. I'll finish up with these doors, but it's overall starting to look pretty good. I'll just do a little pan of the other side here. So that's one side, and then we'll go to this side. And when I have these properly blended, one more coat should do the trick, because now it's got 2 coats. When it's properly blended, it will just, I think, look really stunning. If we go back a little bit farther even, I can't see from this side, but doesn't that look pretty? It's just going to be so pretty. It's a really beautiful piece. I have to get the door painted today, and look at these handles. I can't put these handles on, but this is where these go. Actually, no, it goes right there. That's even better. It'll be gold on black, so that's going to be even better. So that's a little bit about blending. Basically, it's you want to use a dark color, a color that's also fairly dark but completely different. So I went black to navy blue, and then a lighter color for your blending it out to make the, to make the center part pop. This has blending to finish, the black to finish, the door to finish, waxing it, painting the handles, and putting those back on. And I think I'm going to try to find something different for the back, because I really don't like this back. I could paint it, but it has a little bit of damage to it, and I really don't like it anyway. It's kind of flimsy stuff. So I thought I might go to the hardware store later and see if I can find something. If you replace a back on these cabinets when you paint them, you can take your measurements to the hardware store, and they will actually cut you the pieces that you need at the hardware store. So I just go in and I say, this is what I need, this size and this type of wood, and can you cut it for me? And they always do. And then I come home and I nail it on myself. It's really easy to nail on yourself. So that's it. As this dries, it's gonna look nicer and nicer and nicer and nicer. So I will probably be back on in a few days. I'm going to work on this in between, and then I'll show you just some things that I've done to it. And also, possibly this weekend, I'm going to be using some gold wax on another piece that I have that I want to finish up. The gold wax is really quite beautiful. I'll just grab it here and show it to you. It's really pretty. And it's also going on a black piece that I bought, and we did. Oh, my little stool doesn't like me. So check this out, guys. This is going on another black piece that I have. Look at that. Pretty snazzy. So this is a gilding wax, and we will also, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it on this piece to highlight the handles or anything. I'm not sure. I always get started and then I just keep fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with things until I get it the way that I want it. And half the time I change my mind. I don't really know. As I get into something, I see it a little bit differently sometimes. So, but that's all for today, and I hope you share this with your friends and your family. I'm trying to build up my Facebook page. I love painting furniture. I love seeing clients too, but those are a little bit farther in between. Furniture I can do, 3 pieces a week sort of thing. If you do want a decor consult, I'd be happy to come see you. And our phone number is on our Facebook page and our web page at Flandrance Interiors. If you ever want to know why our company's name Flandrance Interiors, let me know, because it's quite a little story. And have a good weekend if I don't talk to you before then, but I probably should be on Saturday for just like 10 minutes doing a live to do the gold on the piece that the gold wax that I just showed you. So have a good day everyone, and thanks for joining. Bye.